Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University here, and what we're going to be trying to do this time, Acolytes, is talking about the various magical items that Doctor Strange uses. Buckle in, this could be a wild ride. There are two Cloaks of Levitation. The blue one was worn by Doctor Strange in his debut, way back in Strange Tales number 114. The second cloak, given to Strange after the first time he defeated Dormammu in Strange Tales number 127, was more powerful, and allowed for more frequent flight. The cloak is considered to grant him flight. However, it does require a certain level of concentration, because when Strange is knocked unconscious, he falls. The cloak doesn't hold him aloft. The cloak grants the ability to fly and levitate. Levitation is slower than flight, and has only linear movements, but is resistant to strong winds. He can make the cloak take the shape of a trench coat or a scarf, and, presumably, other shapes as needed. This description is only for the comics, as, in the movie, it would be considered an intelligent magical item as it was able to attack and act on its own, and would disagree with decisions its wearer would make. In D&D terms, it's a cloak with several charges of the fly spell. Agamotto was the first Sorcerer Supreme of the Earth Dimension, and thus, the first being to wield it. It's currently unknown if he created it or not, though it seems likely that he did. Agamotto actually has 3 eye artifacts, one of power, one of truth, one of prescience. This eye is that of truth. Often called the all-seeing eye of Agamotto, the eye itself is really within the amulet of Agamotto. It is one of the few items that can travel with Strange when he astral projects, though it's of a slightly weaker ghost form. The eye can track beings by their psychic signature. Made of unknown materials, yet subject to metal detectors, the amulet houses the eye. When activated, the eye shines a light that reveals any disguise or illusion. The eye can even see through the guise of shapeshifters. It forces those in its light to tell the truth and can be used to probe the minds of its targets to find secrets. Its telepathic abilities are such that it avoids psychic traps because its power is magical in nature, not psychic. Theoretically, the eye can only be used by a being of pure heart and intention. Anyone who has evil in his heart will feel the pain of radiant light piercing their souls, and the more horrible the person, the more unbearable the pain. Demons and creatures of pure evil can be utterly destroyed by its light, and no one can long survive the light of Agamotto. The eye has limited time manipulation abilities insomuch as it can play back recent events that have happened in an area. It can also place someone in a form of suspended animation. It has reversed time around a statue, returning it to a state before it was broken. The eye even allowed the human-demon hybrid being known as Vera Gemini to achieve a state of xenogenesis in a single day, while the other demon overlords took eons to achieve this level of evolution. Typically, the eye will remain in the amulet, but often enough, it will leave its housing and appear on the forehead of the user to boost his or her mystical abilities of perception. More than this, it can telekinetically lift objects or people. Strange has demonstrated the ability to lift approximately 1 ton of objects simultaneously and use his cloak to fly himself and the targets to lengthy distances without any strain to himself. The eye opens portals to either teleport to another location anywhere in the world or to other dimensions. The distance of the teleportation abilities is not known. However, Strange was able to teleport himself and the members of the Illuminati from orbit down to the surface of the Skrull throne world. He was not able to teleport them there from Earth. Of some significance is the fact that the eye will sometimes open of its own accord, either partially or fully, when an event of some significance transpires. It's thought that Agamotto himself views the events that occur before the eye, recording them, such as Uatu the Watcher would. For Dungeons & Dragons stats, I suggest looking at the Mystic Arcanum under the Warlock entry. Mind you, this is only for the comics. In the movie, it would be considered an artifact of godly proportions, as the amulet houses the Time Stone, which is the movie equivalent of the Time Gem, not the eye. The orb of Agamotto seems rather unique, as, while there are 3 eyes, there appears to be only 1 orb. The orb itself is capable of scrying this and other dimensions. Doctor Strange will consult the orb daily to search for any potential mystical threats to this dimension. The orb can find anyone, anywhere, as long as the user has some sense of familiarity with the individual being searched for, including a psychic signature. Some beings are powerful enough to be shielded from the scrying, but they are typically beings of cosmic proportions, such as Dormammu, his sister Umar, Odin, Zeus. Even some beings who are of exceptional magical ability, while not being of cosmic level ability, like the Enchantress, one of Asgard's most powerful magic users. While she can be detected, she can immediately shield herself once she realizes that she's being watched. The orb is linked to the eye by some unknown means. The orb is capable of transporting people to any place it can see, and sometimes the travelers will enter through the eye and exit from the orb, and vice versa. In D&D terms, it's a standard crystal ball with detection spells like clairvoyance and the like, maybe even a glyph spell attached to it once per day. The Book of the Vishanti is the ultimate white magic book. It contains every white magic spell ever, and thus it can teach its readers the most powerful defensive spells in creation. It's the reason why Doctor Strange's shield spells are more effective than his offensive spells. Even the book itself is a powerful conduit to magic, insomuch as any offensive spell cast against it will be directed back at its user. The book also has chapters devoted to revealing the history of magic and the magical influences that shaped portions of history. Only good-aligned magic users are capable of using the book. Even spellcasters of greater power than Strange recognize that, though they could read the book. They could neither use it nor destroy it. For a D&D equivalent, see Pact of the Tomb under Warlock. The Darkhold is a book that acts as the exact opposite of the Book of the Vishanti, in that it's the hub of black magic, or magic that's meant to harm or affect others. Within its pages is the Montesi formula, a spell that can destroy vampires. The Wand of Watum is a small wand with a demon's head on either side that can be broken into two smaller parts. They are essentially devoid of any magical power when they're separated. Together as a whole, however, the wand is a powerful artifact that grants several abilities. It greatly amplifies the mage's spell power. It can absorb spells directed at the user, scry any person they're familiar with, open portals to other dimensions, and control the Aristotelian elements. There are in fact 6 known wands of Watum in the various dimensions, 3 of which are known to be in the main dimension. The sling-ring from the movie is non-existent in the comics. However, that could be a simple spell foci. Now, at the end of the day, all of these magical items are simply there to help him out doing his job, defending the entire Earth dimension. That's not just Earth itself, that's the whole dimension. So if magical entities invade the Skrull throne homeworld, he's got to go there, and he's got to find a way to stop them, preferably without informing the Skrulls, because they will kill him. They don't like him. Anyway, the idea is that these devices help him so that he doesn't have to use his own power, in which case, again, he is just a normal human. Without all of these devices, he wouldn't be nearly as powerful as we would need him to be to defend us magically. Now, this is not to detract from how powerful he is individually. Even without his magical abilities, he is clearly, easily one of the most powerful beings in the entire Marvel Universe. That's just hands down. He could take on pretty much anybody. But seeing as he is still just a regular human, nothing particularly special about him, he's in really good physical health is all, he would very quickly run out of power. It would be like overclocking your computer to get a lot of really good power out of it for a little while before it fizzles out, way before its lifespan. So him using these other devices not only give him access to abilities he otherwise wouldn't have, but realistically, it's to just make his life easier. Again, he can fly without the Cloak of Levitation, but it would tax him, and it would require a concentration that he otherwise wouldn't be able to maintain properly while casting defensive spells and offensive spells and other spells that are going to win the day. So it's a way of making his job easier, thereby making him even more powerful than he otherwise would be. You too can join the Comic Book University simply by subscribing below. And by the 12 rings of Ragador, guys, class dismissed.